I'm joined by Padraig Brennan, Director of Markets with Bord Bia. Padraig, you told the seminar and you spent considerable time explaining to the seminar the research that Bord Bia are undertaking to identify new opportunities, if not for the immediate future, for the medium and longer term.
Indeed, really what we're trying to undertake at the moment is what we're calling a market prioritisation study, and it's really what it's looking at is where are we seeing growth in the global market when it comes to meat, and what shape is that growth taking in terms of potential opportunities that might exist to supply that. But obviously the second side then is looking at, right, if there's growth in a particular market, is Ireland in a position to meet some of that growth? Are there niches that Ireland could get after in it? So really what we've been trying to do is come up with a consistent process of looking at markets across Asia, Middle East, Africa, even Central and South America to see where their opportunities might be.
At this stage, is there anything out there that you feel that's going to be interesting and that you're going to be digging a bit deeper into?
I think certainly if you look around Asia, particularly Southeast Asia, obviously we're all very familiar with China and in terms of the potential that's there. I think certainly Southeast Asia would seem to present opportunities, and likewise the likes of Japan and South Korea as well. When we were there in November on a ministerial trade mission, it was very obvious that what you're seeing in markets like Japan and Korea is an emerging premium segment as well. So while a lot of these markets can be very valuable from an offal or a byproduct point of view, there are also niches emerging very much in that premium segment that are very high value. I suppose what we need to figure out a little bit more is, are these segments that Ireland can really avail of over a period of time, and that in those markets it is likely to be an investment of time before you really fully understand those.
And it's an additional government investment of resources in Bord Bia that's made this possible, is that right?
It is indeed. We would have been in discussions with the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine for a good number of months during the early part of last year, and they provided funding to us then to complete this work during the second half of last year and into the first half of this year. And really what we're doing is we're starting at a very high level, looking at general kind of macroeconomic and sector data, but then as we go along, as we narrow down the number of markets we're looking at, drilling in that much deeper into the scale of the opportunity and who's supplying it, who would you be competing against, and what trends are we seeing in the market.
And are you picking up real new information here that you didn't have already? Like, for example, most people, if you read any textbook, would have been targeting Southeast Asia as a growth area in any sector of the economy? I
think they would, yeah, but I think when you get into looking at beef or pig meat or lamb in those individual markets, you're learning things that you don't know all the time, because these are relatively new markets to us in a lot of cases. So what we're trying to do is, as we go through the process, we're getting at more of that new information. Some of the earlier work certainly will be maybe confirming what we already knew or had already heard, but the more depth we go into them, we're trying to find that new information, particularly in terms of who are the key players within those markets, how does the market operate? So if you are to be trying to supply it, what is the process? What are the regulations? What are the access issues that you need to overcome? I suppose the other side of it is obviously the markets we presented here this morning had a very international focus to it. What we decided to do from a meat point of view was Europe is core and always will be core for us as an industry. What we're trying to use the resources within this project is to look outside of Europe and see are there opportunities there as well.
When will Irish farmers, and I appreciate that this is a long-term project that you're engaged in here, when could Irish farmers expect to see the benefits of this work return into a price per kilo for them at the factory?
Really what you're looking at here in terms of this exercise is to try and look at all parts of the animal, see where there might be opportunities to get the best return for that, and obviously that's where it's in the farmer's interest and everybody's interest to find those opportunities. So what we're hoping, some of the opportunities may be more accessible than others in the short to medium term, but certainly as we go through the next say 2, 3, 4 years, you'd like to see, certainly in a niche farm maybe initially, that benefit would start to come back from that. I think what we're trying to use this from a Bord Bia point of view to do is focus what we do. What are the activities that we undertake? So which are the markets that we invest our time and our people into to help us make sure that we're helping the industry as best we can, and that's all we're trying to do with it really.
I suppose final question then is, Brexit's the cloud that hangs over our industry like none other. Is this, if you like, a strategy that will offset the consequences or the worst effects of Brexit if it does turn out that way?
I suppose the first thing I'd say is we didn't do this just because of Brexit. We did this because we feel the more markets any industry has, the better position it is to get the best returns. So I think it's the right thing to do first of all. Obviously you would like to think if the worst came to the worst in the UK, which hopefully it won't, that if we have new opportunities or new potential markets for us, it would help lessen the impact of that. But obviously we're first and foremost we're looking at this, where are there potential opportunities for the medium term that Ireland can as an industry start looking at in a bit more detail, and Bord Bia as an organisation try to help get that understanding better than it is at the moment.
Padraig Brennan, thank you very much.
Thanks, Alan.